particularly to Senator Ali Ndume, there is palpable fear among lawmakers, particularly the ruling party, to criticize the federal government. How do you think we got into this stage?
Well, that's what we were discussing. It's one step at a time. It will first start as a joke and then become serious. And if we are not careful, it becomes irreversible. But the Ali Ndume situation, Ali Ndume is my very good friend. I respect him a lot. He's a man with experience. And he contributes very much on the floor of the Senate. But the affair is a private one. It's a party affair. And so I'm a senator under the platform of the Labour Party. So it's not my business what they do within themselves. But of course we all have our liberties, one of which is freedom of speech. And to that extent, as a senator, we also have that immunity to speak our minds when we're on the floor. And Ali Ndume is not exempted from that. It's also his rights and liberty. But I'm not a member of their party. So their party see it as something not palatable to them. And so they can argue, they can punish, they can do whatever they want to do. Not within the Nigerian constitution, no, but within their own party constitution, which is within their rights and purview to do. And so it doesn't stop the rest of us from saying our minds and to criticize when we have to, and to also applaud when we have to.
So you are not scared to criticize that?
Hell no.
Look back in the last 12 months, what would you think you have done for the constituency? Are you satisfied? And if yes, what are those things you have done for them?
That's a good question. I thought that should have come first. Am I satisfied? I cannot be satisfied. The reason why I cannot be satisfied is that the desires, the needs, underlying the needs of my people, I don't know how I can satisfy it. How a senator can satisfy that? There's no adequate healthcare. Schools are all breaking down. We don't have enough teachers. And when we do have them, they're not even qualified to teach. Our roads is nothing to write home about. For me to drive from Benin or from Abuja to Benin today, I should be ready for two things: the risk of banditry on the way and the risk of bad roads that is going to keep me on the road. A journey that would have taken 5 hours will be taking like 14 hours. Not to talk about the wear and tear on your car. Some of my constituencies is rural. You have the Ovia North, East, Southwest, you have one there, you have Orion. These are rural communities. And they are farmers. Many of them, when I say many, I mean over 70% of them cannot go to farm or could not go to farm again because of the fear of banditry. So what that means is that they're not even able to feed their own self. That is, the farmers can't even feed themselves. And as farmers, it's a business for them. If they can't go to farm, they have no money. And so my phone is loaded with demands. Demands for money because you couldn't pay school fees. Demands for money because a child is sick in the hospital. Demand because I couldn't put food on the table. So the complaints is a lot. And so you begin to ask yourself, how do I satisfy these constituents? I cannot. I can only do the best I can. And so, am I satisfied? No, I'm not satisfied. But we are hoping that with legislation, and of course by the grace of God, that the justice should not only be done, it will be seen to have been done. That's my response to that.
Okay, sir. So one might be right to see that that is why the 10th Senate is seen as a rubber stamp. Because we used to hear before now that once you have been elected a senator, what is now paramount is national interest. That might be the reason why people are saying that 10th Senate is a rubber stamp Senate. So why has it been difficult for the 10th Senate to wade off the dirty affiliation and then focus on national interest?
Well, I personally don't like the word rubber stamp. So rubber stamp means that we are really not doing anything except to take instructions from the executives as to what we should do. And that is far from the truth. But again, what your colleague just alluded to is what is giving this appearance. It's an appearance, it's not really what it is. It is that inability to separate party from the position you hold. It's just that inability to separate it. And the reason why it's not separated, in my opinion, is because there's that party loyalty to the party, which ought to be subservient to the loyalty to the country, seems to be more at play. But it doesn't mean that it's a rubber stamp sort of thing. And I always argue, and I'll argue again here, that the fact that the National Assembly is cooperating positively with the executive doesn't mean we are rubber stamping. And if you understand where we are today, there's hunger in the land. Our people are suffering. I mean, our people are truly suffering. There's no anybody who lives in this country and who do not see that yet must be living in a fairy tale in a different world. If you live in Nigeria today, hunger is all over the place. And so when the executive proposes something to reduce or to ameliorate the sufferings of Nigerians, expect the National Assembly, nay the Senate, to cooperate fully with them. We don't want a situation where Akoga would have thing if you had approved, but because you didn't approve it, that's why we are not able to do this. And so it's the same thing that happened during the height of insurgency, when the Senate and the National Assembly had to give more money to the army, to the security agencies to prosecute the challenges that were before us. And so they gave money, and they gave money, and they kept giving money because it didn't want to be because of lack of money or lack of equipment or lack of ammunition, and that's the reason why we are unable to prosecute. So to that extent, we cooperated fully. So it shouldn't be seen or misrepresented or misread as rubber stamping.